Okay, we're going to get started. Thanks everyone for joining. This is the Cognizant Softvision Holiday 2020 Merchandise Planning Discussion. I'm Jeff. I'm joined by Stuart. We've both been with the company for over 10 years, helping customers solve their demand planning, inventory optimization, purchasing challenges that they have. We do it with consultative input and certainly our software solutions.
Thanks, Jeff. This is Stuart, and just want to review some housekeeping. We're going to mute everyone to reduce feedback. So if you have a question, there is a Q&A window. You could click there and then type in your question. We're also going to have a question and answer period in the last few minutes of the webinar. We are recording this webinar, and all of these recordings are available. Well, this recording and similar webinars we've done in the past are on our YouTube channel. You could search for Cognizant Softvision webinars and you'll see the list there.
Thank you, Stuart. So we're going to talk about the challenges that we're facing this holiday season and their impact on our demand planning, merchandise assortment planning, and certainly inventory position. And then a few actions that we can take to help assure a successful holiday season. And then I'll wrap up with a broader introduction to Cognizant Softvision Suite. Stuart, you and I have been working with customers and on the customer side of the fence, being directors and VPs of merchandising organizations sitting on the side of the fence that the attendees are for many years.
Right.
And I tell you, Y2K shook us all up, right? Elections always have an impact. But gosh, I haven't seen so many at once, so broadly. And it'll create an interesting season for us for sure. And besides those points that we just saw, we keep hearing in the news, pretty significant readjustments of some of the large companies out there. The story that sounds most feasible to me is that in the past 10 years of boom, some companies such as United have put on a little bit around the waist, and they're taking this opportunity to clean things up. The pandemic and the stories it's created, social distancing. I mean, the hardware show, as a merchant, I used to go, and that was one of the biggest shows there was in Las Vegas. We've all been to those huge Las Vegas shows. Imagine they're not there. The National Retail Federation big show in New York City, not going to happen in January. Concerts, sporting events. I mean, it's just creating a unique vibe out there that I've not experienced. We see these retailers in the news, and the news isn't positive for some. We'll talk more about that here in a little bit. And we've certainly experienced the overwhelmed supply chain. Are you an Amazon customer, Stuart?
Oh, yeah.
I hear a lot of people frustrated because they're not getting their packages in the normal prime time period. I think that's improved recently. But what does that bode for our holiday season? And it's not just the last mile deliveries, it's the entire supply chain that's certainly feeling this crunch. And again, I'm just trying to lay out the depth and breadth of all that we're faced with. It's not just an election this time. It's not just Y2K this time. It's deeper and broader than that.
Yeah,
Stuart,
so
speak to this for me, Stuart.
yeah, well, 2020 is an election year, as if we don't have enough going on. So, historically, the elections affect holiday sales for a number of different reasons. Just the distraction of the elections, the uncertainty of the outcome, and campaign spending. This year projected to set, the estimate is about 1.3 billion on campaign ads. So instead of being inundated with advertisements, catalogs for your products, instead is going to be all of this campaign advertisement. And we could see from this chart in the last two elections, there was a 6% drop in year-over-year sales during that election week. So we expect this year to be the same. This year, election day is November 3rd, so it's about a week earlier than these prior years. So we will see an impact with the election. The good news is, as we see historically, sales do rebound come Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and Christmas. So hopefully that'll follow the same trend this year.
And this data is geared towards retailers, but regardless of your business, are you a wholesale distributor? Are you a grocery chain? Do the historical analysis in your building, in your business, in your data. And what I think we're going to want to do is to lock in what that shift is during that election day and week and era, so that we know how we've done in the past, and then can quickly compare that to our 2020 behavior to determine, if the rest of the season may be pinched by some of these other extraneous activities also. So go gather your historical election impact, and have that beside you for the comparative analysis as you embark on this. You mentioned, Stuart, the amount of money being spent on campaigns. The
Oh, it's
interesting thing,
huge.
yeah, the interesting thing is it feels like it's so late. Also, it's going to come heavy, is what I anticipate.
Right. Yeah, so the question for this year is, what is our outlook for holiday 2020? Will shoppers show up this holiday and spend? Will omni-channel be important, buying online? And will people expect this good fulfillment, this faster delivery? So in June, just this past June, there was a consumer insight survey. And some of the results are that most consumers plan to spend the same as last year on holiday gifts, which is good. But 60% plan to shop less in store because of COVID-19 exposure. And that's to be expected as well.
And we saw a lot of information about that in the news. The brick and mortar retailers that had already in place before 2020 a solid online presence fared the spring better than those that didn't.
That's true.
And I think that is as a telling of the future, really, is that we need to be omni-channel sellers, consumer, business to consumer, business to business. The lines are blurring with regards to how consumers want to purchase, want to take delivery or pick up, and how they expect pricing and availability to be presented to them.
Right, but shoppers will trend now towards going to stores, and they're more likely to purchase from a retailer that's following these guidelines. So that is important for shoppers. They don't want to risk, getting sick by going to the stores. So the stores that really have good procedures in place, those are the ones that shoppers will go to.
And that reminds me of the news, I think yesterday, where Walmart announced that Walmart and Sam's Clubs in the entire country, beginning Monday, will mandate mask requirements. And if you think about that in your experiences being out in public in the past 6 weeks, That's pretty profound that they would do that. And they're spending the next few days before Monday figuring out how to execute this. So I think it's telling that in a June survey, people said they want that. The majority of people said they want that, and the largest retailers provide, going to give them that.
Yeah, the struggle is going to be to maintain social distancing when the stores get crowded.
Yes,
Come November, that's going to be a challenge.
yes. There are positives, to the oncoming season. We believe that shoppers will absolutely be shopping. We've also heard in the news that the economic dip would be a sharp V, which some people aren't really believing. But the economic indicators could be worse. How about categorically, Stuart?
Oh yeah, any of the essentials. People are working from home, so they're fixing up their home and other things, not spending money on travels.
We've read where apparel has taken a hit, and I believe some subcategories and some subdepartments certainly have. But we're also hearing where sports apparel, intimate apparel, um, are doing well and holding in there, and certainly outdoor sports. So whether that will continue in the colder months, we'll see. But your point about purchasing home items is key.
Right.
And go ahead.
No, you're right. On outerwear may still do well because people just will want to get out
Yeah,
at some point.
yeah. One of the things that's exciting in my mind about the upcoming holiday season is that there was a lot of infrastructure reevaluation, testing, fixes put in place during the height of the March-April pandemic era. And what I mean by that is the small parcel delivery companies ramped up heavily quickly. Yes, your package was a day late, but goodness, I think the reaction overall to the small parcel carriers was great. But don't forget the rest of the supply chain. You must keep in touch with your forwarders, your trailer load, your LTL, your air freight suppliers, and certainly your merchandise suppliers to really understand how everyone's doing. Keep an eye on the pulse of the supply chain. Staffing has been interesting so far in 2020, from high unemployment to work from home and everything in between. Indications seem to be, however, that the workforce overall is still doing great work, very effective and efficient work from home.
Right.
And I suspect a lot of the participants on this call are facing that. But keeping in touch with each other, keeping everything positive, and keeping the communication lines open will continue that.
And being adept at Zoom meetings, which is important.
Yes, we're going to have new entries to the dictionary, aren't we?
Right.
We're going to transition now to a few topics on, what can you do for your business to assure success, to assure that on December 31st, you're feeling good about your execution. We've seen an impact on category sales so far this year. You need to reflect again more deeply and broadly on your core items, your core competencies, your core categories, and assure that you're offering what people are buying in these eras. Stuart is an inventory optimization pro, and he is a big fan of this next one. Sell what you have.
Sell what you have and generate some cash.
Absolutely. I guess that's your accounting background coming out too.
Oh, it is.
And what does available mean? Available could be on your shelf. Available could be POs you've committed to. Available could be what you can go out to the market and procure in a short time period. Be creative. I've heard stories of uh, enterprises purchasing near commodity items from competitors just to get the sale and just to keep a customer happy. And we know well what that does to margins.
Right.
But be creative in this era. What's your position on fashion apparel, Stuart?
Well, I think you have to discount on at this time. That's the feedback we're getting from some people in the industry and from some of our customers. It's just not moving. And if you're holding it, you're just holding on to inventory that may not sell and may not move.
And this reminds me of some of the news we've seen where very large retailers are boxing up and storing their entire spring, early summer assortments and saving it for next year. I get that, but there might be an opportunity also to unbox it and promote it this fall and holiday season. You've got to make that decision. You're going to get cash that way. You're going to reduce your margin, but you might also be offering something that others aren't, or offering goods that you're to support categories you'd rather be selling that you can't get into.
Yeah, you could box it up for next year if it's staple enough, you know.
Sure. We talked earlier about the retailers that had an okay spring and summer because they already had an online presence. So getting your online presence shored up for those that have resisted it would certainly be prudent at this time. Buy online, pick up in store has evolved further to curbside pickup, and that's great. We need to do what the world, the market, and the customer demands. And Stuart, to your point earlier, curbside pickup will probably also lead to parking and going in the store.
Right, and they're doing curbside pickup because they want to buy it online and reserve it and make sure that they have that inventory.
Yeah,
And then pick it up and then go into the store possibly.
Some other things we can do. Certainly, we've got a diverse array of attendees and customers. You need to reflect on your business and certainly the impact that spring summer had and how that may impact your fall holiday. Are you a short lead time vendor or long lead vendor, or vendors, predominantly? Can you get back into your merchandise quickly generally or not? Will drive a lot of your actions. How are you on a multi-channel basis? The list goes on, but take these action steps and certainly scrub them against your environment to see which ones can be achieved. Vendor management, Stuart, what are some of your thoughts there?
Yeah, contact your vendors and maybe purchase earlier because you're going to have a lot of competitors scrambling for this merchandise. So you might want to buy it just to make sure you have it in the pipeline.
And then negotiate terms, or
right.
Set recurring touch base meetings with your vendors, with some of your senior leadership, so that everyone understands how important the partnership is. Ask them the same questions you're asking yourself. How is your supply chain equipped to manage this? What are your plans to mitigate challenges in the holiday season? I feel those are fair, open questions for your merchandise suppliers.
Yeah, ask customers their shopping plans and what they're looking for from you. What type of merchandise, what type of fulfillment. That's important now to reach out to customers to find what they're looking for.
So that's sort of the opposite of vendors. While I'm encouraging you increase your communication with your vendors, well, increase your communication with your customers.
Right.
I think we've worn this one out, but your customers are going to want to know what is on your shelf and available to me for you to process in your DC while taking care of your employees in your DC, and will indeed be boxed and delivered to my door. your store needs to be able to tell them that.
Right. Make sure it tells you customers the inventory position, and if there's any problem with getting it, some alternate items. Do some cross-selling or upselling as well.
It is absolutely a great season to have a meeting specific to cross-selling and substitutions. You know, reevaluate your policy and your strategy on that. And there may be more tolerance for substitutions than there has been in the past.
Right.
So not only poll your customers, but advertise holiday assortments sooner. And perhaps promote the merchandise sooner. We hate to do that out of the gate. We don't enjoy doing it at all because of the margin hit. But have some promotion events planned and scheduled so that you can pull the trigger on them quickly if you need to.
Yeah, I think this year customers are going to be expecting deals the same as other years.
Vendors we've talked about, customers we've talked about. Your internal communications needs to be stronger and more frequent than ever also. Do we all understand what the game plan is? Are the inventory planners going to know from marketing and finance and senior leadership that we had a great week in these categories and we want to make every effort to get into them more deeply? Everyone needs to know the strategy week by week as the season unfolds. And support that planning team with these conversations and certainly software tools, expediting staff, whatever it takes to assure your planning team is able to get reads on the season, in season, and manage that inventory model as efficiently as possible. Stuart's going to go through a couple system features that are a requirement at any time, but certainly in these times of added stress. What's your final comment here, Stuart?
Oh, definitely focus on the holiday spirit during these tough times. You know, people want a reason to celebrate, especially, you know, these last couple of months are just so difficult. So when it comes to holiday, they're looking for a degree of normalcy, something like in the past where we could finally do some celebration. And maybe that will help the holiday sales as people get into the spirit.
I like that sense of normalcy. We're
Right.
lacking that and we need more of it.
So make sure, analyze your systems, you know, and keep them up to date. You know, make sure you have a good demand plan, forecasts are accurate. Look at your inventory, your current inventory, and your planned future inventory. And also make changes in season. Once you start to get these sales, update your forecasts. That's the earliest indication of how these products and categories are going to sell.
And in our methodologies, everything starts with your demand plan. It starts with, you know, how many of these do I expect her to buy from me at this period of time? Now, certainly it's more complicated than that, but that's the genesis of all of it. We've got divisions, we've got channels, we've got different marketing vehicles that have an assortment of items in it that we're planning. And that prediction of demand, that demand plan, is really the beginning of all. Your inventory model is as good as your demand plan, right?
Right, and at all different levels, at product, and now especially look at category and subcategory. Take a look at the history.
Even more than ever, especially since there are surprises likely to occur.
Right. Also take a look at your inventory position. So look at the past, what your inventory was, and also forecasting in the future. Look, a graph like this shows your sales and your inventory. So it's a good visual way to make sure that they are in sync.
And your planners need to be able to help drive the business. They need to tell the enterprise that these items are great candidates for markdown and promotion in 3 days.
Right.
We have more than we thought. The category's doing well, but these items aren't. There needs to be a lot more than normal communication on sharing to the enterprise the inventory position at whatever level is required.
And a lot of that has to happen right away, not planning for way the future, but you have to look at where you are now, basically, and make some quick decisions.
Absolutely.
So looking at your sales, take a look at your sales and then make adjustments to your forecast. There may be 100 different reasons why your projection or your projected sales is different from your forecast. A good forecaster would know some of those, but go in there and take a look and see the reasons why and make those adjustments when they make sense.
So thank you, Stuart. Certainly any questions we'll field here after this next section. I see a couple already, but we'll field those here in a minute. Let me discuss with you Cognizant Softvision and our suite of products that help solve some of the inventory challenges you may face. In a nutshell, we provide comprehensive multi-channel planning solutions for the diverse retail community, using the latest technologies and methods to enable our clients to have the right product in the right place at the right time. And really, the right product in the right place at the right time. That is everything. We take your ERP data, your item master, your item assortment, if it lives there, your historical sales, and we bring those into our environment to help with merchandise financial planning, assortment analysis and assortment planning. Let's build a comprehensive offering to our customer that meets our company's goals. Once I have an assortment, I then do my demand planning. And that was how many of these is she going to buy in this marketing effort, in this period of time, in this promotion. And it's that demand plan that really helps build the inventory model then. And that's where you can do inventory optimization, which means finding and communicating excess so that I can promote it or transition customers into those goods. It means finding merchandise that I have shortages on so that I can try to work with my supply chain to get replenished. It means finding categories that aren't doing as well as we had planned and presenting a full summary of the inventory position across the SKUs in that category. So inventory optimization is really having your finger on the pulse of your inventory and the quality of that inventory at any given time. Part of inventory management is purchasing. It's not everything we do, but it's a lot of what we do. So I need to understand that my current existing open purchase orders are still quality, or should I move them or reduce them or increase them? Quick awareness there is important. And then certainly the need to issue additional purchase orders is a key element to inventory optimization. Getting the merchandise from your vendors then into your enterprise can often present a lot of other dynamics. I have 3 distribution centers and 48 stores. How do I assure, again, that I have the right merchandise in the right place at the right time? And that's allocation and replenishment dynamics that we can help solve as well. So really, we're a full suite of that space in your enterprise. Very positive feedback from our customers on how our tools and our consulting have helped them solve challenges. Do the math. It's clear that the data Softvision's forecasting provides is worth far, far more than its cost of ownership. That's why I recommend it so highly. And that was one of our wholesale customers. Predominantly USA-based customers, but we do have a strong presence in the UK and a couple customers in Australia. Stuart's going to speak now about some of the things that we're most proud of that we bring to market with our solution.
So the way we stand apart from other providers are we listen to our customers. We ask them for feedback, what they're looking for, what we could do to improve the software, and we act on that. We have two functionality upgrades, enhancements twice a year. And a lot of this is coming from customers asking for these upgrades. We do roll that out to all customers because a lot of them are looking for that. We have monthly webinars similar to this webinar where we focus on specific topics and the use of specific modules within the software and how to use it for solutions for your business.
Yeah, those are exciting events where you and your colleagues, review business problems and how we solve them, throughout the application. It's very, very engaging.
Yeah, we've been very successful and gotten some good feedback on those. We have a user conference every 18 months. The last one was this past February. It's good because we have networking between the users and different companies. We have different focus groups and workshops and training, and it's really positive event. Everyone
and we have the
always has
lab.
a good time.
Yeah, we have the lab set up where we can, look at the solution together with technicians and consultants and customers to really even further understand it, the intent of the application.
And we've had feedback that from companies that there is a quick return on investment with our tool, increase in sales, in turnover, and in productivity.
Stuart, let's field some questions. I see that we've got one here that I'll go ahead and ask you to elaborate on. I have long lead items. What here applies to me? So if I'm interpreting the question correctly, what have we discussed helps those customers, or what other thoughts might we share on entering the holiday season and having a long lead, being an importer basically?
Right. Well, hopefully
what can I do today?
Right. Hopefully you've committed to that stock, but if you haven't and you're struggling to get it, you may have to air freight some of it in. You'd have to take a look and see what those costs are, if it makes sense to you, and if it's products that your customers are looking for, that it's those real saleable products. But you will have to scramble to get stock, sell what you have, but there are those products which you need to get. So you just need to get them any way you can.
Yeah, and we've got a good number of customers that have small, light, yet somewhat expensive items where air freighting is a possibility. I would encourage you, however, to keep your finger on the pulse of the status of the air freight industry.
That's right.
more than you have, because again, I feel that every single area in the supply chain could get pinched, and if we've got reduced flights, dramatically reduced flights a couple months ago with a somewhat increasing frequency, you still have to wonder, or at least be aware of where we stand with the air freight industry.
Yeah, I think companies will find that there's sticker shock when you go try to get this air estimate. So something you have to check out.
I see another question there, Stuart, if you'd read it to us, please.
Yeah, if items are on back order, will customers wait like they have in the past? It depends. If it's exclusive, I think customers will wait. If it's specific to you and they can't get it other places, they will. But otherwise, I think they're shopping for other companies. So if you have it, sell it. If not, maybe cross-sell, suggest some alternate items, but basically push what you have, because I think customers will wait for just specific type of merchandise. Otherwise, they're shopping somewhere else.
Yeah, one of the things I've seen a lot in the past, Stuart, is that companies will tend to overreact when things go on back order and purchase a little more heavily than they should. knowing full well and sharing with the customer that they're not going to get the receipt until January, and then inevitably the back order degradation and the demand expectations plummet, and I get 1,000 of them on the shelf and only 400 of them ship. And guess what? I'm carrying 600 of them.
Right.
Um, I really do encourage that the management of back order conversation be had now. And to your point, if it's a core identifying item, then continue to invest in it. But on the lesser items, substitute, cross sell, and maybe make the tough decision to not carry the back orders so that you don't risk the inventory position in January or February.
Right.
That's it, Stuart. I appreciate your and everyone else's participating in the event. We'll deliver a recording of this to everyone that registered and certainly attended. And keep your eyes out for an announcement of the winners of the drawings that we'll conduct once we close down here. Anything else, Stuart?
Well, just thanks to everyone.
All right. Thanks and take care. Goodbye.